Hi everyone! Happy Friday! I just wanted to say hello to all of you. Hope you all are doing well today. And today we're going to go through the brand therapy website, the new service that I put up today, technically this week, but I had some questions, common questions that were being asked, and I wanted to cover them today in the video, especially for live stream. If there's any questions that are, live today, I will definitely clear them up on the spots. So let's get started so that we're not wasting any time. Okay, so this week I launched brand therapy, and if we're not really sure what that is, brand therapy is kind of like you're going to the doctors, right? So you know how you go to the doctors and you would kind of talk about a problem that's happening in your body? Well, this time you're going to come to a brand designer such as myself to assess any problems that you're having in your brand. If there's something that's missing in your brand or something that's not working, you put all your pieces together, but you're not attracting anyone, or you're not attracting the right clients, or something's just not piecing well together and you want someone to look at it, or you're just looking for some advice and guidance, which is, really common for people that are new to branding to ask a professional, right? So this is why I wanted to create brand therapy, because brand therapy is really all about that. It's just getting the feedback that you need to make your brand better or function better or look better. All of those things are important, especially if you're just starting out. And I know many art therapists are just starting out and might not be able to hire a brand designer fully, right? So I get it. You guys are wearing many hats. You guys are doing so many things. And I don't want anyone to feel pressured to, hire a brand designer right away, right? Maybe you want to take time to learn about your brand first and have a good idea of your vision and your mission and maybe the ideal client that you're looking for and your story. Once you have that maybe down a bit more, then you can go and hire a designer so that you can confidently tell them, yes, this is what I want to improve and I want to update my logo and all those things. But brand therapy is a little bit more toned back. It's more about the value that is in the knowledge side instead of actually hiring the designer to do the brand building for you. So that's why I wanted to create the brand therapy service, so that you can still talk to me and I can still provide you with my knowledge, tools, and resources. Anything that I've learned in my experience that I can share with you in actionable steps that you could take on your own that are clear, concise, and easy to understand. And even the tools that I share with you, you should be able to clearly put that together on your own as well. So it's basically a coaching type of format for brand therapy. Again, it's just giving you some guidance. You still have full control of your brand, but I give you, the notes that you need to take with you to make those changes within the brand. So we're just going to kind of go through a little bit of what it is. So if you DIY'd your brand, if you DIY'd it and you're feeling that things aren't really working for you, or there's things missing in your brand therapy is really good for this. It's really good for, reviewing the brand, and I can see what's missing within the brand foundation that we can fix, because that's usually the problem. Many art therapists, and I get it because I'm an artist and designer myself, I love to jump to the pretty stuff because it's easy, it's fun, and it's not as intense. when you're jumping into, you know, the foundation part of the brand, which is making the blueprint, and that's all writing and planning and thinking, and it could be very heavy on the head, right? So that's why a lot of people just kind of shove that aside. They don't really want to look at, you know, thinking too hard or planning it real good, right? We just put the pretty stuff together and get going. But the other half of the brand is the planning, because if the planning is not there, everything's going to fall apart, because you just have the visuals standing for itself, and it might not have a strong meaning, you know, compared to having a blueprint there to support the visuals, right? They play together. So this is why I've created brand therapy, again, to reinforce that art therapists have to have a brand foundation down in order for you guys to be clear with your brands and clear with your purpose and knowing who you want to serve. That's what matters. And then when you do your visuals, it'll be so easy to piece everything together. So again, if you are tight on a budget, art therapy is a little bit more, brand therapy. Brand therapy is more accessible in terms of a price range. So compared to hiring me, you know, for doing your brand and building your brand, you're able to at least have a chat with me, and we can go through what's going on in your brand at a little bit more of a cheaper price. And I think that that's definitely more accessible than what I have previous as my signature program brand, my branding package. So we want to get rid of any kind of frustrations, right? Because when you're just starting out, you want to get the ball rolling. You don't want to be bumping into a wall every time you're building your brand, right? You want to get rid of that feeling of feeling frustrated and expressing yourself. So you really want to take the time to build that foundation, right? So no worries. I got you. Don't worry, because you're going to get actionable steps. This isn't going to be one of those, you know, okay, yeah, this is your problem. You know, this is why it's happening. And then do all of these things and then bye-bye, you're gone. I won't do that. What I normally do for clients is I take the time to review the brand in different perspectives. And I'm going to share more about that a little bit in the video here today. But in terms of the actionable steps, I'm going to create an action guide for you. So I'm going to put a little booklet together, and it's going to break down how you should be starting and finishing trying to fix, you know, your brand attraction problem, because it's all about managing it, right? So I give you really clear steps, the guidance that you need. So I'm not just saying stuff and then you have to go and figure it out by yourself. I'm giving you instructions in terms of how to take this, what I share with you, and apply it on your own. And I put it in simple form because I know that you're not a designer, so you're not going to understand fully, you know, the jargon behind design and such. So I wanted to make sure that I keep things clean and clear and easy to process and understand. But you'll be able to take action real quick when I give you the booklet. And you're also going to get tools and resources. So depending on your problem, I'll find tools and resources within my own libraries that will help you out in terms of maybe getting better colors or better fonts. There's so many different things that I can supply because I've learned a lot, and I have a lot of different activities that I use to help me get through a problem or manage a problem. So I give you a lot of resources and worksheets that will help to strengthen your brand that I think will help you out. So it's your choice if you want to use these worksheets and such, but they're going to help you be a little bit more cohesive in your brand, because that's a lot of what's happening with DIYing your brand. You might not have that full consistency and cohesive look. So that's why I wanted to make sure that with the tools and the resources that I give to you, it will help you, be seamless throughout your website, your social media, and all those other things. But again, it really depends on the problem that you're going to present to me. Now, the last thing that you get is knowledge, because you're going to learn a lot about branding when, you speak with me. I'm going to give you a little bit of a lesson as well in terms of, what you should be focusing on in your brand, and, what is this term and that term, what's the importance of your brand, as well as not only discovering why you're having this client attraction problem, but you're also going to collect all the elements you need to complete the brand. And that's really important, because you need to have a brand that's complete in order for it to work for you and get that client attraction up, right? We have, this issue where we don't finish our work entirely, and then we just start marketing. And when you start marketing, you start to see, I'm missing stuff. It's probably why things aren't, attracting people, because there's pieces that are missing, right? So when you have all your pieces together, you're going to see how easy it is to attract people, because they'll see your goals, they'll see what you're trying to do, they resonate with that, and they're going to jump on the train with you, and that's really important. So I just wanted to just check in, see how we're doing, if there's any questions so far. Okay, perfect. So there's nothing so far, but I wanted to just introduce brand therapy again. So it is an action plan to better your brand. So keeping things really engaging and exciting, because I don't just want you to leave a brand therapy session and not getting the value, right? So I'm giving you all the tools, I'm giving you notes, I'm giving you feedback that you can take with you to make the brand better. And again, you don't want to miss this opportunity. So if you really, really wanted to talk to a brand designer, because you have, you put this website together for yourself and you're so excited that it's up, but you seem a little unsure that it might not be exactly to, what you're wanting it to be, but you want someone to review it. Now, you probably wouldn't want your best friend reviewing the website, because your best friend might not have the full knowledge of how to construct a website, right? So for a brand designer such as me, I have a lot of background in web development and web design and how it converts clients. So putting your foot through the door to a brand designer such as me would be much more valuable than talking to your best friend, because at least for a brand therapy, we will take on different perspectives when looking at your brand. And I'm going to share that very soon in terms of the process. But again, I give you advice, guidance, insights, all the things that you need to hear, because I want to help you guys. I want to help you really build up your websites, your brands, to make sure that they're clear and that they are converting for you and they're engaging and attractive. So again, I just spoke about what brand therapy is. So it's very similar to visiting your family doctor and talking about your current problems within your body. And then we would assess, right? So it's similar, but this time we're going to be looking at a brand. And I'm going to check the brand health status. So I'm going to go through all the 7 brand elements that is within a brand. So that would be your brand purpose, your brand vision, your brand mission, your brand values, your brand positioning, your brand personality, and your brand story. So these are the 7 brand elements that I'm going to review to make sure that there is nothing missing and everything completes each other. So that's why I'm saying I'm going to study, learn, listen, and assess your brand, because I want to make sure that I'm in not only the headspace of your potential client, but also the headspace of you, and how are you going to try to speak to your clients, and how are the clients going to intake that and make it more clear and understandable for them. So we're going to be looking at the strengths and weaknesses also within the brand. So anything that's a little bit on the weak side, I will highlight it, and I will also apply that in the action plan, how you can make that better so that there is no issues. And any strengths that you have, we're going to play on that and see how we can really boost and enhance the brand much more. So the internal and external elements of the brand. So the internal stuff was basically everything that I listed earlier in terms of the 7 brand elements. So those are internal elements, meaning that not all of them can be seen by the public. So you would have to make that clear through your external elements, which that means your external elements would be your logo, your website, your brochures, your colors, your fonts, all the external stuff, because people can see that, right? So we're going to assess both sides, because that's what makes up the brand. Remember, your brand is not just a logo, it is everything. So, yep. And then basically we're going to finish off brand therapy with an action plan. So like I said, I'm going to craft this action plan for you. It's probably going to be customized to every need that you have. So everyone's going to be different. Everyone's going to have a different problem, all within the same umbrella of brand attraction, but everyone, again, is going to have a different problem. So the brand action plan is going to be crafted specifically for you and your needs. Now, I just want to go over some of the perks. So like I said before, the price is a bit cheaper because I understand that you're on a tight budget. So I want to make sure that I reach you guys as far as I can to provide as much help as I possibly can within, a small window of a session, which is brand therapy. And we're gonna talk together about your problem and what's happening in your brand. And when we go through that, I'm going to listen and take notes, as well as on my own time assess your brand in the different perspectives. The next best thing is it's a little bit quicker in service. So if, let's just say you need this ASAP, I can give you actionable plans within a week's time, possibly a little bit less, depending on the problem. But usually it's about a week that I can provide you with actionable steps. And I understand, your time is limited, right? We are trying so hard to pump up lots of things within our brands. We might not have time to, meet every week to do things. So I want to make sure that I can still help you as much as I can within a short period of time. The last best thing is you get the pro direction. So you get to talk to a professional, which is myself, and I'm giving you honest feedback. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be truthful and honest. And with the 10 years of experience that I have behind me, we are definitely going to, you're going to get a lot of insight, especially from the experience that I've had, and I can pass that on to you with the knowledge that I've learned. Now, how is this different from hiring a professional? Well, brand therapy gives you the advantage of, learning about branding. And what it allows you to do is you get to see branding in a new light. You're going to see how valuable your brand actually is, and you'll learn to take better care for it, because not many people, take the time to put their brand together. They just kind of find a logo and then whip it together and boom. But there's a lot more effort that has to be put into a brand. So when you're actually in the seat and learning how to do this yourself, you're going to have much more respect for your brand, and you're going to see how valuable it is in the very end. The next great thing is that you steer the wheel. You have full control. I understand that you guys might not feel fully comfortable trying to give your brand off to another designer that has no idea, what your vision is and what your mission is and your story. So I get that, right? We don't want to hand something that's personal to us and something that, we created. So this is why brand therapy allows you to still steer the wheel, but you get knowledge on top of that you can take with you and apply to your brand. The last thing here is you save money. So you're wearing all these hats. I get it. You're this one day, and then you're this the other day, and then you're trying to save time and money, but you're trying to find small opportunities such as brand therapy, where you're able to just kind of take what you can and apply it to your brand in small increments. And that works, right? For brand therapy. And again, some of the types of problems that brand therapy can solve, between the brand foundation, which is internal things, to your brand visual identity issues, which is external. So some missing pieces in your brand blueprint, our ideal client is not established, lack of clarity, brand attributes are not really defined, there's a lack of storytelling, no niche defined, no purpose or plan. And I know that many of these in the brand foundation issues is really big, especially just through the past couple of years. Not many people focus on a niche, and that's a huge problem. And not many people focus on an ideal client. So I know that those are huge problems. And on top of that, there are usually missing pieces in the brand blueprint. And that's normally what I find every time that I'm working with a person on building their brand. Now, colors, choices, so we're tapping into visual identity, inconsistencies with visuals and messaging. That's sometimes a big one. Photography mishaps, this is a big one as well. Font choices, it's not too bad. Website layouts, yeah. Lack of graphics sometimes, and no visual system in place. Some people are more focused on having a visual system in place, but you do get those one-offs that sometimes are more focused on the words than they are of the actual pictures and visuals. So yeah, and I just want to check in and see if there's any questions. All right, we're going to continue. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about the process. So step one is the first impression review. So what I like to do here is, before I even dive deep, I like to study your brand without learning about you or the client. I just want to adapt a mindset of the potential client and learn about the brand the same way that they would, and engage with the brand how they would. And what I would do is I would make notes here, and I would kind of evaluate the brand on a first impression stage. And that's super important, right? Because if you have potential leads that are jumping onto your page, that is a first impression, and that's normally the biggest important part when it comes to engaging in a brand. So step 2 here is the client consultant research. So after I go through the first impression step, I want to talk to you and do some research as well. So I set a little meeting with you to talk about your goals, your ideal client, your unique approach, and where you want to be in the market of mental health, and any specific attraction problem that you're currently experiencing right now. You currently, want to solve. And I dive into, in terms of research side, I dive into potential competitors and just finding commonalities within the other art therapists online and make notes of that. So I try to take a little bit of research, but also talk to you as well, so that I'm getting a lot of detail within the brand therapy approach. Then step 3, after I have that discussion with you, I do an intermediate review after learning about you, your wishes, and who you want to attract, as well as the studies that I found in terms of, with what's going on in the market, and helping to now that I understand the details, I can actually dive a little bit more deeper into providing notes. And what are your strengths and weaknesses and what needs improvement? And I'm going to make notes on that as well. And then lastly, in step 4, I create the action plan. So all the notes that I found from first impression to diving a little bit deeper after learning more about you and looking at the market, I put together an action plan with steps to instantly implement into your brand. And then the changes can range from major to minor. So major could be you might have to rewrite your whole copy on a page because it's not reaching the right audience, or it's not sounding casual enough or more conversational. And then something could be as simple as changing your fonts or changing your colors. Okay, so just a quick overview here. So again, I'm going to review your internal brand elements and your external brand elements, and then design an action plan with steps and tools and resources that you could take with you. And currently right now I have a special deal, so please ignore that pricing because I have a special deal going on for 2 weeks. And we're going to highlight that in a couple of minutes. So I just wanted to run it by, is brand therapy for you? Are you thinking about, is this going to be the best service for me? And it probably is if you have an existing brand that you built yourself, or you've started your business in private practice and maybe have like a couple of things started. If you're looking for tips and advice or guidance to improve your brand therapy is where it's at. And there are some other art therapists who also had the chance to experience brand therapy. And Connor here, she absolutely loved the session. She loved that I knew the market of mental health and art therapy and the niche field of art therapy. So she enjoyed that I had that unique knowledge, as well as Krista. So Krista said that the overall brand therapy session was a game changer. They absolutely loved that I analyzed the brand from all different angles, and that was key, right? To understand, what does the client see compared to what you see, right? And before we go to some questions, I just wanted to highlight, the limited time offer right now that's open for 2 weeks. So from October 25th to November 7th, the price is reduced to 400 Canadian. So this is a good deal and a good steal. So jump on it when you can, because I would say this is great for you when you're ending the year, right? You can end the year off by getting your brand cleaned up and ready to go for January. and how to work with me. Basically, you're going to have the chance to read the brand therapy page so you understand what the expectations are. You're going to fill out a form below over here, and you're going to book a session with me. And basically it's just going to be a first consultation call, meaning if we're a good fit, and as well as what the needs are. So I get a little bit of what the scope of work is and what needs to be assessed. And normally I do those consultations for free. They're about 30 minutes, sometimes to an hour, depending on the discussion. And then after you book an appointment, you just have to wait for me, and I'll reach out to you with a video chat invite, whether it's for Zoom or for Google Hangouts. So that's how it's going to work. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in the chat. We're going to tap into some commonly asked questions, just in terms of brand therapy itself. So what do I get? What do I get from what do I get from brand therapy? So what you're getting from brand therapy is more of the knowledge value. So you're going to get actionable steps that you can apply to your brand instantly, because the instructions I'm going to give you are going to be very thorough. They're going to be very detailed oriented, and there is going to be no hesitation with you trying to apply this to your brand. You're going to be able to recognize what needs to be the first step, the second step, and the third step. So you're going to know after the brand therapy session what you have to do next. And the next thing that is what you're going to get out of this is the tools and the resources, because depending on the need, I have a library of tools that I can share that will help you get to that next step within your brand. Whether it's improving fonts or improving colors, I have many tools to help improve that. And then the last best thing about the brand therapy and what you're going to get out of it is for sure the knowledge. You're going to walk away having a little bit more knowledge than the average about building a brand, and how to get started or what's involved. You're going to get a lot more insight about branding and how important it is. And you're going to have an understanding of why you were experiencing that problem of brand attraction and how you're able to spin that around and maybe help somebody else after because of the knowledge that you carried. Or if that problem happens again, you know how to fix it now because you have the knowledge and the tools there to support you. So that's what's super exciting about brand therapy. You're going to get new stuff. You're going to get new knowledge, and that's always good. And the next thing, so what is the process? So I already kind of explained this already, but I'll explain it very briefly again. So the process is going to be, we're going to start with a free consultation call because I want to get to know you a little bit, what your problem is in your brand, and what is what are you trying to get out of this as well, and if brand therapy is for you, and if we're a good fit. So I want to make sure we cover that and that you understand the expectations of brand therapy. I'm probably going to ask you some questions in the free consultation call just to see, do you have anything for me to look at in terms of your brand, or are you just starting from scratch? So these are questions that I'm going to be asking in the consultation call. Once the consultation call is done and you agree to brand therapy and you would like to get started with brand therapy, then what will happen is I usually like to put a down payment first on getting started with a brand therapy session. And that's just the way of working with a designer. And the process is going to start with me analyzing your brand from a first impression engagement. And from there, I'm going to then make notes on what is working in first impression stage. Then after that, I'm going to meet with you and I'm going to ask you a couple more questions in terms of, what is your ideal client, your market that you want to reach to, and any kind of special approaches that you have, the goals for the business, any other needs. I try to ask as many questions because the more questions and information that I get, the better I'm able to assess your brand and what needs to be done. And as well as doing research on the side. So I like to look to the market sometimes in terms of looking at competitors and what the other art therapists are doing so that I can figure out how to set you a little bit off and to another entity. I don't want you to be blending in with the other art therapists. And the next step basically would be after doing that and meeting with you and doing all the research, I come back to the brand again and I do a little bit more of a deeper intermediate review where I look at your brand again and I assess a little bit more of the details and what could be done a little bit better after learning more about you, your wishes, your ideal client, and what can be finessed a bit more. I make notes on that. And then last step would be putting together that action plan. So from first engagement review and notes to the intermediate review and notes, and compiling those notes together into a summary document with actionable steps that you take on your own, and also attached with some tools that you can use to help make that better in terms of managing your current problem within your brand. So that's how the process is going to work through brand therapy, and it's normally, depending on the problem, it should take about a week to do, maybe 5 days to 3 days depending on the needs. So that's basically the time frame. And that's actually asking my next question, which is how long is it going to take? So it could be 3 to 7 days, 3 to 5 days. Again, it really depends on the problem, because if it's a bigger problem, then it's going to require me to do a little bit more digging and a little bit more assessing. So if it's something very basic, then maybe 3-day turnaround. But again, I will only know until we meet together and we talk about the problem. And what is needed for this session? So this is a great question because I know that not many of you understand the full ingredients into building a brand. So just some things that I look for when I have to assess a brand. I would like to see some external elements, which is, your logo, your website, colors, and if you have a brand statement written, which would be like your mission statement or a vision statement, anything like that, because anything that is needed there to assess is helpful. So if we have any photography, that would be helpful, because photography is everything when it comes to assessing a brand. If you have any graphics that you like to use within your brand, that's very helpful to share. Share your profile as well, your social media profile. Those are always really good to look at, especially your posts and how you're marketing yourself, because the visuals say a lot about the brand and how it's being displayed. So there's a lot of things that are needed in the session, but basically it would be all the 7 brand elements if you can, which is your brand purpose, your brand vision, your brand mission, your brand values, your brand positioning, your brand personality, your brand story, any logos, icons, imagery, any written brochures or your website, videos, anything like that would be super helpful within the brand session, the brand therapy session. So if you have anything in place, that would be very, very helpful. And what are the benefits of brand therapy? Well, like I said, the brand therapy brings you a lot of knowledge. And the benefit here is also not only do you harness more knowledge than the average art therapist, you're going to also have the opportunity to speak to a brand designer such as myself, where you're able to ask the questions that you always wanted to ask to get clarity on something. So you have the ability to talk to a professional, and you'll have the opportunity to have fresh eyes on your brand with somebody that has a different perspective, that can come in at a different angle on your brand, which for you might not be able to do that because you've been working on your brand so hard, and you have maybe more of a set linear mindset on your brand, compared to maybe such as myself that is completely new to your brand, might not have seen your brand, and can have a look at your brand and give you the feedback from a different perspective. And that is really cool. And when it comes to benefits of the brand therapy, because if I see something that you don't, and you didn't want to showcase that type of vibe, then I can let you know, and then you can easily change that, and you don't have to worry about offending somebody, or I'm not reaching the right people, or using the wrong language, right? So that gives you a little bit more peace of mind, knowing that when you have someone else looking at your brand that has a little bit more knowledge in the branding side of things, then I think that will help in a long run, knowing that you're on the right track. Another benefit would be that you're going to get tools. You're going to get tools that you can use every single time if you're going to be updating your brand or changing colors or fonts. I'm going to give you some advice, and that advice you can take with you and hold with you for quite some time. So I feel like those are the top 3 benefits. Just seeing if there's any questions in the chat. So no questions, no worries. Okay, now we're gonna just briefly go over the external and internal elements. So like I said, the external elements are things that people can see in your brand. That could be your logo, that could be your colors, that could be your website. People that can see it means that it's external. The internal elements, some of those elements they can see if you put it on your website. So example could be your positioning statement and your values. Those could be brought out to the website and be told. But most of those internal elements are elements that you need to pull and put into your visuals, into your external elements. So that's why I always call them internal and external elements, because of what is being seen. And, why is the value so high on brand therapy? So I wanted to say that this would be a little bit more accessible in terms of pricing compared to my branding signature package, which is valued at about $1,000 plus dollars in Canadian. There is more work done in the brand signature program than there is of the brand therapy service. So the comparison between both of those, brand therapy is a bit more accessible. And I have it priced at $400 right now because I am providing you with tools. I am providing you with value knowledge that I've learned from school, from my experience of 10 years working in the workplace within a design agency. So I have a lot of background, and that is quite valuable. and any kind of knowledge that I share will be valuable. So that is why it's priced at $400. And if you have any questions about that, let me know in the chat. And in terms of not enough elements, so let's just say that, you know, you wanted to book a brand therapy session with me, but you didn't have all the eggs in the basket. That's okay, because if you have at least 3 to 5 elements that I can review, that is good enough for me to at least provide you with some direction and guidance. But other than that, I would say no less than 3, because it gets harder for me to see what you're trying to do in your brand if there's not enough for me to assess. So this is why I highly suggest that brand therapy be for art therapists who either have been running their brand for 6 months to a year, or are just, you know, building their brand. They got something set up, but they haven't launched yet. So they have things in place, but no starting from scratch type of an ordeal. Because if you're starting from scratch and have nothing to share, it's going to be harder for me to provide you with feedback, because I don't have a something tangible to look at, and that could be difficult. So just something to be mindful of, that at least having 3 to 5 elements in the basket will be nice for me to see. And so how am I going to apply this after? So brand therapy, like I said, I give you an action plan. So the action plan will give you the steps that you need to take to get to that next step within solving the problem that you're experiencing within your brand. So there really shouldn't be any hesitation when you're done with brand therapy. You should be able to get to step 1, again, then get to step 2 next. And that's pretty much it. The application shouldn't be hard, because I'm going to provide you with a very thorough booklet, as well as tools and resources. So everything should be there for you. But yeah, that's pretty much all the questions for brand therapy. So if you guys have any other follow-up questions, feel free to let me know here in the chat. I don't see anything at the moment, so let me know if there's something that you want me to cover in future videos in terms of brand therapy. If not, no worries. I just wanted to close off the conversation today with just letting you know, as a reminder, that November 7th is when this special deal is going to close, and then the price will be back to its original at $500. So I'm just letting you guys know that. And on top of all of that, I hope that you guys enjoy the rest of your day. And again, if you have any follow-up questions, you can always put them in the chat box down below, or comment box, and I can always message you there if you have any additional questions. So again, thank you so much for tuning into today's Q&A for brand therapy. I hope that cleared up anything that was on your mind. And feel free to book an appointment with me, even if it's just a free consultation. But you know, more than that, it's absolutely okay. It would be nice to have a nice chat with you to see how I can help you in any way, whether it's, you know, subscribing to my mailing list for future events, or if you are interested in brand therapy in general, or if you just have follow-up things that you want me to answer. It's absolutely fine. I am super flexible with times as well, so I can accommodate to your times. Okay, so again, thank you guys so much for your time today, and I hope to see you guys real soon. Have a good one. Bye.